Time now for sports news on the news at 10 with Ayo Balogun.
Many thanks, Gimba. The final rites of late Super Eagles coach Stephen Keshi has started in Benin City, Edo State, with a 1-hour requiem mass at St. Paul's Catholic Church offered in his honor before the line in state at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium. A novelty match between ex-internationals and all-stars at the same venue in honor of the former libero ended 1-1. The body was then moved to Asaba, the Delta State capital, where another line in state was observed in the indoor hall of the stadium named after the legend. Tomorrow, another church service is scheduled for Ila before interment. The league management company LMC has fined Heartland FC for failing to ensure adequate security and controlling their fans during the match day 28 game against FC Ifeanyi Ubah. Consequently, they will play their next 3 NPFL home games behind closed doors, starting with the matchday 30 game against Nasarawa United on August the 7th. Heartland Supporters Club chairman Mr. Ike Jacob has also been banned from entering any NPFL venue for the rest of the season. The Owerri-based club have until Friday, July the 29th, to appeal the rulings. President of the Nigeria Basketball Federation, Mr. Tijani Umar, says he has no regrets that the D-Tigers failed to qualify for this year's Olympics. Mr. Umar insists he is satisfied with the performance of the team in the Women's Olympic qualifying tournament in France. Meanwhile, organizers of the annual Adamak Basketball Clinic believes women's basketball in Nigeria will improve with regular warm-up tournaments and developmental programs for young girls.
The Federation is very grateful that we attended the WOQT. I will give you the background. People in the Federation's department in Sports Ministry looked me in the face and said Nigeria will not participate in the Women's Olympic qualifying tournament because you're not going to qualify. That was it, and I thought it was illogical. I thought, it was unrealistic. It was unsportsmanlike and it was ill-advised. And I looked them back in the face and I said Nigeria would participate.
Nigerian canoeist Jonathan Akiemi has arrived in Rio ahead of the Summer Olympic Games, which begins on August the 5th. Akiemi, who will represent Nigeria for the second successive time at the Olympics, that's in the canoe slalom kayak event, arrived ahead of the rest of the team Nigeria. Now, the 27-year-old qualified as Nigeria's only canoeist to Rio 2016 in the men's K1 class by obtaining a top finish at the 2015 African Canoe Slalom Championships in Kenya, which makes him a medal hopeful at the Games. He is the first Nigerian to compete in canoeing in this event. And that's wrap on sports news. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. Gimba will be back with the rest of the news section.
U.S. Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton is set to address the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia. One of her campaign aides says that her speech tonight is expected to draw upon the principles that has driven her throughout her career, that America is at its best when everyone has the chance to fulfill their God-given potentials. All week, the stage at the Wells Fargo Center has been graced with speaker after speaker, including U.S. President Barack Obama, First Lady Michelle Obama, and her husband, former President Bill Clinton, extolling the life of public service Mrs. Clinton has come to be known by. History was made on Tuesday when the former Secretary of State was nominated presidential candidate of a major political party in the United States. Tonight, she closes the convention with what would arguably be the best speech of her life. German Chancellor Angela Merkel says there is no going back on her decision on migrant refugees despite recent terror attacks on the country. The most recent happened in Bavaria, repeatedly perpetrated by asylum seekers. Speaking at a press conference in Berlin, Mrs. Merkel said that the attackers had shamed the country but welcomed them. But she promised that those fleeing prosecution and war will be protected and Germany will stick to principles of giving shelter to those who deserved it. mentioning the attacks in France, Belgium, Turkey, and the US and elsewhere. She said taboos of civilization had been broken with the intention to spread fear and hatred between cultures and between religions. And the main news again, the federal government today announced plans to implement a strategic national policy for the prosecution of corruption cases in the country. The Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, notes that the policy articulates best practices, capacity improvement and incentives to enhance the productivity of prosecutors. Also today, Amnesty International staged a protest at the Indonesian embassy in Abuja over the execution of Nigerians convicted of drug-related offences in the Asian country. 2 of the convicted Nigerians were killed today. And finally, U.S. Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton is set to address the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia. And that wraps it up on the news at 10 tonight. I want to thank you so much indeed for being a part of it. On behalf of everyone here, have a splendid night, friends. Good night.